We're going to talk about, for the whole month, when I had this idea, I was thinking, can I talk about cholesterol for a whole month? Haha, apparently, yes, I can. Because I start putting together all these presentations, I'm like, yes. And plus, it bears repeating. Some people, you get the LDL and the HDL, and what do what does the triglycerides mean? What does that mean? So, also, as we're getting our warm bowl of cabbage soup, I'm going to pass around this little Post-its and a pen and the basket, because I have some little prizes. I like to give away things at the end, and it's little, it's no big deal. Don't get too excited. So this whole month, we're going to talk about cholesterol. What are the different types of cholesterol? Why do we need cholesterol? We don't want to get rid of all of it. Why do we need it? And what do those lab results mean that you get, that piece of paper that you get every year or more? You guys are probably doing it more. What does that mean? And what can I do about that? And then I'm going to give you some tools, some daily recipes, tips. What can you eat in order to optimize your own health? And then at the bottom it says address last week's questions. Since I'm here for the whole month, I want to make this and part of that whole warm bowl thing is also, I want to really build this community. So we're connecting, so we're talking, and you guys have questions. I want you to tell me what those questions are. So next week, we can talk about it again at 11 a.m. or 6 p.m. whenever you're coming, because whatever questions you have, other people might be having the same questions. And don't worry if it sounds basic, if it sounds repetitive, because this all needs repeating, right? Every single time someone explains to you the difference between LDL and HDL, it's okay, because you don't do this every day, right? So today, we're going to start with talking about different types of cholesterol, what those are. Specifically, we're going to focus in on LDL cholesterol a little bit more today, and how that cabbage soup can help to lower that LDL cholesterol if that's an issue for you. And why do you need that cholesterol in your body? So we kind of cholesterol's come like the bad guy, right? But no, you need it. You need it for your brain function. You need it basically for every single cell in your body to have nice, healthy skin and healthy hair. And today, again, we're going to talk about what tools you can use to get those in balance in the way that you want them to be. Oh, first, my name is Brenda Morgan. I am a registered dietitian, nutritionist. I am a personal trainer and also a health coach. And I have a business called A Health Warrior. And I am in the process of executing my business plan to create a place where people can come and build community and learn about the latest nutrition and find that professional and also community support. So I'm really, really passionate about creating this community, but also giving you evidence-based knowledge, science. What is the latest science? I love that stuff. So let me look it up for you, and then I will make it digestible. I also wanted to say, full disclosure, I have no conflicts of interest. Any of the products that I am presenting or giving away or talking about, it's only because I have found them beneficial to my clients or for myself, or I have looked at the ingredients and said, you know what, this is a better option than this option, right? So I'm not getting anything out of whatever products I'm talking about. So let's talk about the different types of cholesterol. So your HDL is known, this is just a good way to think of it, an easier way to think of it is your HDL is your good cholesterol. It's just easier. What the HDL does is you want a higher level on your HDL. You're looking for higher numbers because the HDL cleans out that LDL. It transports it back to the liver, and it breaks it down and it passes it out of the body. So that you don't get a buildup of the LDL, which they call the bad cholesterol. So you don't get a buildup of that. It doesn't build up in your arteries and cause plaque, which can lead to cardiovascular disease, to high blood pressure, and it can cause like atherosclerotic plaque in the veins and in the heart, and it builds up too much. So you want more HDL to carry out the LDL. Now, what are triglycerides? You didn't know there was going to be a test, right? I didn't even give you like a prep. Does anyone know about triglycerides? Like, what's the difference? Tell me.
I know I've always had issues with triglycerides through all my life. They're always high. It's just, I know they build up from like starches and fatty food and like fried foods and stuff.
Yes. Okay. So she's saying that she's always had issues with triglycerides on your lab results, I'm assuming. And so those come from like excess of like saturated fats and saturated fats and too much starchy foods, right? What they are, triglycerides are the free floating fats in your bloodstream. So when they take your blood, they're measuring the HDLs that are in there, the LDLs that are in there, and they also are measuring which ones are that are there from I just ate, right? I just ate. And so these are the ones that give you energy. The triglycerides are what your body is using when you go for a run or you do like a steady state cardio, something that's got you moving on a regular basis. That energy is coming from the fat that is floating around, the triglycerides in your blood. That's a good thing, right? So your total cholesterol, when they take your blood and they give you the report, your total cholesterol is a combination of your HDL, your LDL, and about 20% of the triglycerides in your blood. So why do we need cholesterol? For so many things. It's essential for creating hormones. So if you look at that little chemical structure right there, that is what a cholesterol molecule looks like. And that is the precursor or the foundation for so many things in your body. The hormones, all of your hormones, your sex hormones, your stress hormones, the cortisol, the testosterone, estrogen, these all have cholesterol as a component of them. So you need that cholesterol. It's a precursor for vitamin D. We know that we make vitamin D, we can consume some of it, maybe a little bit in mushrooms, and we get it enhanced in our milk too. But most of your vitamin D is coming from you getting exposure to the sun, right? But you have to have cholesterol for your body to make that. It's insulating your nerve fibers, so you want to have cholesterol to fend off dementia and also possibly peripheral neuropathy. Some of you might be dealing with that, where you get like numbness, tingling in your fingers and toes. Yes. And so if your nerve fibers are insulated well, then those connections can make the connections. That also happens in your brain too. You want the right amount of cholesterol in order to make your brain function properly. This photograph right here is like of a cell, and the outside of the cell is mostly made up of fat, and there's little pieces of cholesterol in that fat that help to keep everything signaling and working properly. Your brain contains the highest concentration of cholesterol. and fat. You want to be a fathead, right? That's a good thing. I don't know about you, but I have been like really, really focused on my brain health more than anything. In my 50s, I'm seeing people around me starting to have symptoms of dementia, and I think I'm going to live at least 50 more years. So, so I'm like, I want to keep that sharp. So I want to pay attention to my brain health also. It's also really important for healthy skin and hair and nails. So what do these numbers mean? Desirable levels of total cholesterol. Now let me say this. Because of your own genetics or your age or whatever medical therapy, whatever medications you might be taking, your target cholesterol levels numbers might be a little bit different. You and your doctor are going to talk about what are the best for you. So these numbers that I'm presenting to you, these are just the general, for general population, right? And it just kind of gives you an idea where you are. And when you're getting these numbers, if you see, my total cholesterol is 215 or something like that, that's not something to worry about per se. It's something that you can say, okay, well, what can I do to maybe bring that down? And if you're going to the doctor on a regular basis and getting this lab work, then you're going to watch your trends, right? So 215 might be lower than the 290 that you had last year. That means you're going in a better direction for your health, for your long-term health, for your heart health, for cardiovascular disease. So I just want to put that out there, that it's all relative to you, and also that this is just one indicator, because they're looking at lots of other things, right? They're looking at lots of other numbers on your labs to see what your overall health is. So in general, we're looking for total cholesterol numbers to be less than 200 milligrams per deciliter. Your LDL, you would want to be less than 100. And some people say around 70 to 100 is like a really good range. So less than 100 is probably best to prevent that plaque buildup. And then your HDL, high is good. 40 is kind of a minimum. We're going to talk about that. I think next week, we're going to talk more about HDL and how you can raise those HDL numbers. But I think some of you probably know about HDL. How can you get those numbers higher? The good cholesterol. Fish. Yeah, we want omega-3 fatty acids. We'll talk more about that. That gives you incentive to come back. 11 o'clock and 6 on Tuesdays. And then your triglycerides, you want them to be less than 150. So like I already said, what do these mean? It's just, if your numbers are not within range, it just means that might not be optimal for you, and that it might be a risk factor for you. And it's something to pay attention to. But there's lots of other factors that are going into that, right? It's not a determinant of your health. So you don't have to be like, okay, my cholesterol is 250 and I'm going to have a heart attack. No, it's just something to pay attention to so that you can monitor your own health, so you can be informed and watch those trends. But if they start, especially if your LDL and your total cholesterols are very high, it might be an indicator that you might have some plaque buildup. That's what atherosclerosis, let's all say it together. Atherosclerosis. Good. I'm glad you're having trouble with it too. I think you're saying it better than I am. Bless you, bless you. So I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of a visual, because sometimes that's a bit more impactful. This would be a nice clean artery here. And this would show the plaque that's starting to build up in your arteries. Now, there's going to be a normal amount of plaque buildup as we get older. right? That's normal. But we don't want to help it along by eating things that are going to make it worse, right? And we want to eat things that are going to clean it out, like that cabbage soup, that's going to like help you lower that plaque and clean it out. But if you start to get this formation of plaque here, and then it gets thicker, what's happening here is that you might start seeing some high blood pressure, right? Because there's less bandwidth for it to flow through. So it's starting to push on the artery walls a little bit more. It's going to raise that blood pressure. And then if it starts to close off a lot, you might get some blood clots. They might break free, and that can lead to a stroke or heart attack, right? So we want to prevent that as much as we can. That's why we're here for the education, right? But my message you are going to find every single time I present to you is you have the power. This is why I do what I do. And this is my big message is I want to give people science-based knowledge. I want to support you and empower you with the knowledge of the nutrition part of it, with the exercise that you do. And actually, we're going to talk a little bit more about that on the third week. We're going to talk about how exercise is so impactful in cleaning that out. And that's why we have such a great program at ThriveWell. I highly encourage you, take those classes, take those fitness classes, because they're there for you. And that's where all the research is showing that to maintain your muscle mass, to clean out your arteries, and your mood too. You guys, some of you are going through a lot with medical diagnoses in the past and or just life in general, right? You got to get moving, you go outside, the sun, and then it's like, okay, I can handle this, right? So you have that power. And then sleep is so important. Who else has been focusing on their sleep? Understanding how important it is. Finally, in our American culture, we're starting to go, no. Not getting enough sleep is not a badge of honor. Getting sleep is when your body repairs itself. That is the time when it can repair itself, when it can clean everything out and start anew. And your brain too, right? Cleaning out your brain, fending off that dementia, and managing your stress levels. Also, again, as Americans, we kind of are like, I can handle it, the stress part of it. But, you know, we're just breaking ourselves down. And make sure that, you know, if you have, just keeping those healthy lifestyle habits, not smoking, minimal alcohol consumption. That's really controversial, so I say it kind of like that. If I sing it, it's okay. But the power is on your plate, right? So we're going to talk about what foods can help to lower that LDL cholesterol for you. The salmon is up there as one of the things that has a lot of HDL, or that will help with your HDL, that has omega-3s in it, that'll help to clean it out. But what we're going to talk about more today is the fiber part of it. So we're going to have that awesome cabbage soup coming in and getting all that fiber that's going to take that cholesterol, the LDL cholesterol, and just clean it out, right? So we're going to do that with, and some of the foods that have really been shown to clean out that LDL are the whole grains. So when you're having pasta or rice or something like that, see if you can find a brown rice, or if you can get a pasta that's got, I know those of you who have been with me in class before, we talk about seeing if you can find those alternatives. They're just a little bit healthier because every little bit helps, right? Getting those, actually, wait, I'm not going to say that yet because it's right here on this slide. We want to focus on getting healthy fats instead of saturated fats, right? So you want to give yourself an oil change, more of the healthy fats. Can anyone give me examples of healthy fats?
Avocados.
Yes, avocado oil, avocados, olive oil, nuts. Yes, nuts and seeds, flax seeds, sunflower seeds, nuts in general. She said nuts, and I started salivating so much. I'm like, yes, peanut butter. Yes, those are healthy fats. So you want to change from, if the saturated fats are an issue for you, the fried foods and the beefs and things like that. Now, I'm not saying that you don't eat beef at all. Some people do, but see if you can get the leanest beef. But you can also get all that protein from some nice salmon or chicken that is much leaner. Or if you're having the salmon, then at least you've got those omega-3s that are going to help to increase your HDL. So we're finding more and more that eating cholesterol is not what raises your cholesterol. It's saturated fats that are raising your cholesterol. And also, there's been a lot of recent research that is showing a link to dementia. Again, we're talking about your brain health. So keeping those saturated fats in your diet as low as possible, and finding alternatives too. So what might be a saturated fat? Like butter is a saturated fat. What could you use instead of butter, either when you're preparing or cooking something? Does anyone have any ideas?
Olive oil.
You could use olive oil instead of butter.
Or plant-based.
Or any of the plant-based, yeah. So when you're cooking, olive oil is really good like for salad dressings because it has a really low smoke point. So olive oil is going to be better for like cold preparations. I know a lot of people cook with it and you're not hurting anything. You just might not be getting all the benefits of it. But grapeseed oil and avocado oil are two that I recommend for cooking because it has a higher smoke point. And so you're not going to lose all the benefits of the oil just the same. But if you're cooking with olive oil instead of butter, that's already better, right? So we're just trying to get better.
I mean, instead of like cooking with like, I guess synthetic like margarine.
Yes. So she was saying, isn't that better than cooking with like margarine or something like that? And yes, canola oil, any of the synthetic made oils like canola oil, corn oil, vegetable oil, those cause inflammation in the body. And we really want to try to steer away from those because the avocado oil, the grapeseed oil, the olive oils, those are pressed to get the oil, right? If you press I don't know if you've seen like an avocado, if you've ever squeezed an avocado, you could physically press it and get oil out of it. But corn, you can't press it and it's not oily. So they have to synthetically make it an oil. Thank you so much for bringing that up. I do actually a whole class on that. But yeah, the not using corn oil, vegetable oil, what was the other one? Canola oil. Yeah, if you can steer away from those, really helps to reduce inflammation in the body, right?
So what about coconut oil? Is that a good one or not good?
Coconut oil, so coconut oil, it is a saturated fat, or it tends to have more saturated fat, but it is not synthetic. So coconut, you can press it and it's more of a natural, but it is also solid at room temperature. So, sorry, I'm going to go off to the side here just for a minute. So one day my friend said to me, I don't want to put synthetic lotion on my body anymore, so I'm going to start using coconut oil. And I was like, yeah, let's try. So now, I was like, okay. So I have started using, because at body temperature, coconut oil is liquid, right? And I mean, it takes a minute to dry and you have to rub it in really well. But the reason I'm saying that is that even though it is a saturated fat, at body temperature is a little bit more liquid. So it's a medium, it's kind of in between the saturated. Am I making sense? Did I lose? How about peanut oil? Peanut oil is a good choice also. Yeah. And peanut oil, you can, also has a very high smoking point, right? You know. And so that's an option too. Yeah, if you're not allergic to nuts. Thank you for participating. So let's go back from the saturated fats and let's go back to the power is on your plate with what you can eat. Having and that's one of the things that I really like to focus on the most is when people start talking about nutrition. When people meet a registered dietitian or a nutritionist, they're like, huh. You know, they're like, don't touch my food. Don't tell me what to eat. You're going to, you know, because it's very personal, right? What you eat every day is very personal. And so my focus when I work with my students and I work with my clients is what can you add? I have a 7-page list of just fruits and vegetables that you can, things to experiment with, things to play with. What can you add to your diet? We're not taking anything away. We're going to substitute or minimize, but not taking anything away. Because the more you start eating those fruits and vegetables and those whole grains and finding ways to incorporate them into your life too, that's the biggest thing, right? Do you find that, like, okay, I would love to make this stuff, but you know, it's too complicated. And this whole month, my focus on every single recipe that we're doing is how can we make it easy? Let's make it easy. And actually, the one, I say that, and the one that we're doing today is probably the most complicated one. But it makes so much that you're going to have batch cooking. You're going to have a lot to eat. So let's get on the recipe, the fun part. Yay. So I have my Instapot here. You can make this in just a big pot. I just brought this because it was easier to plug in and heat it up, which I didn't even do. I plugged it in. Yay, step 1. How do you turn it on? As you can tell, I use this all the time. So there's the other thing we were talking about before the class started is people were talking, oh, Instapot is the best thing. It's so great. I use it all the time. And I have just been and I have friends that use theirs all the time too. And I just haven't like incorporated it into my life, you know, but I think once I do, it's just be like, it's always there because you can saute everything in here. Now I'm just going to pour everything in and I pre-chopped everything for you guys. I will tell you on this recipe, the most time consuming part is chopping everything. But other than that, you're just dumping it all in. So I'm going to start with the 4 cups of water. So we've got our water here. And if you want to, and I'll tell you at home when I do this, that I actually will saute the onions in the bottom first, but you don't have to because it cooks for long enough that they'll get softened and that's just fine. So we're going to start with that. And then you can either get one of the big cans of diced tomatoes. I like to use petite diced tomatoes, but you can just use diced tomatoes canned. So you can either have 2 regular cans or 1 large can. And then, so this is one of the things I really wanted to show you guys. Does anyone else use Better Than Bouillon? Have you heard of this? Yeah, fantastic. Really good alternative. I actually printed out for myself so that I could tell you. So this has very few ingredients in it. It's mostly roasted, and they have chicken or they have beef or they have vegetable. If you're vegan or vegetarian, they have a vegetable bouillon also. I just brought these to show you. So this is a chicken one, and this is a beef one. We're going to use beef on this one today, and the one that you're having. So mostly this is just beef concentrate, and then it's got salt and it's a very short list of ingredients, and there aren't things on here that make me go, no, don't eat that. But I printed this out for myself to just like a standard bouillon cube. The first ingredient is salt, right? So at least when you do it this way, you can control your salt a little bit better. You're going to get more flavor without all the sodium, for those of you who sodium is an issue. But then the list, if you just look at a regular bouillon cube, the list of ingredients, you've got hydrolyzed corn protein, just the few things in there that as a dietitian cause me pause is the artificial flavor. Artificial flavors, artificial colors cause inflammation in the body and in the brain, and we just don't need them. So let's get rid of all that extra. And it also has red number 40. Yes, everybody went, no. Yeah, that's why. There's a lot of like anti-caking agents and artificial flavors. Sugar is the third ingredient. You know, I mean, if you want to, you can, but let's try to find the purest that we can find. So I just wanted to show you this better than bouillon. And we are going to put, how much does it say? 6 cubes. So this says 6 cubes. So 1 cube is equal to about a teaspoon. So 6 cubes would be about 2 tablespoons. So I'm going to put 2 tablespoons. This is my 2 tablespoon measure here. Actually, I'm not going to use this yet because it's wet and I need to do. So the same thing goes for, so on the recipe that I gave you, I also gave you a dry onion soup mix. You can use dry onion soup mix if you want to, like you can buy those little packets, but I went and looked it up and I was like, there must be a hack to this, right? You should be able to make your own. So what I did is I gave you the cabbage soup recipe and then I gave you the dry onion soup mix that you can make, because basically for the same reasons as that you don't want to use bouillon cubes, those dry mixes start with salt, and then they've got oil in them and some preservatives and some sulfites. Also, I know some of you might be alert or sensitive to sulfites. I'm not saying that they're bad per se, but some people might be sensitive to them. So we're going to make our own, but you don't have to. It's okay. I just am a dietitian and I like to cook things. So we're going to, I'm going to go ahead and put this together for you. We're going to start with the onions.
So is this going to make you lose weight too?
So she just asked, is this going to make you lose weight too?
You know,
I wasn't, well, actually, it's not back in the day. I mean, yes, back in the day. So she said, you know, back in the day. I discovered this is actually called peel-a-pound soup and I gave credit to the person. You might have seen that. Oh, you saw that. So I'm not making fun of it. It's just really cute. T. Roy Cooks has a peel-a-pound soup, and he shows you how to make this. And I love him, and I started making this soup, and I was making it because it's healthy for you, or I think a cup of it is like 30 calories, and it's delicious, right? And it fills you up, and and yes, this is part of a whole regimen if you want. I'm not advocating this, but you can if you want. So this. So yes, you kids.
It's just one of those mind over matter things. It tastes really good and hearty.
Uh-huh.
So you don't feel like you're on a diet.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it's benefiting you. It's lowering your cholesterol. It's lowering your LDL. So this measuring that I'm using right here, this is 2 tablespoons. So we're putting in 1/4 of a cup of onion flakes.
And you made that one?
Pardon me?
You made the onion flakes?
No, sorry. This is us making the dry onion soup mix. So it starts with 1/4 cup of dried onion flakes. So we're starting with that. And then we're going to do 2 tablespoons again of the bouillon. You know what? I'm going to eyeball this because I don't want to get my measuring spoon dirty. So 2 tablespoons. That's about a tablespoon. And that's about a tablespoon. This is the better. Right, exactly. 2 tablespoons of the bouillon paste. Yeah, if on your recipe, if you want to clarify that, it just says bouillon, 2 tablespoons of bouillon paste. Right, or you can use 5 to 6 cubes if you're using bouillon cubes.
That's the beef.
This one is beef, is the one I'm making today, yes. But you can make it with chicken or turkey, or you can use, they do have a vegetable-based one too. So now I'm also, since I have my spatula dirty now, I'm also going to put in the 2 tablespoons that are in the beginning of the recipe. If you look at the cabbage soup recipe where it says 6 to 7 bouillon cubes, that is also 2 tablespoons of bouillon paste. Yeah. So a tablespoon is about 3 cubes. Am I making sense? Thank you. Thank you for following me. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to the dry onion recipe. We're going to do 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder. This is an 1/8 measure, an 1/8 teaspoon measure, which 2 of these would make 1/4. An 1/8 times 2 is 1/4. So we'll do that. And then parsley flakes. You know what? I should do like Jan Tilly did and have somebody help me. Does anyone want to help me? I need an assistant. Then I would go faster. Parsley flakes. So if you don't mind being on camera. And then we have celery seed. And all of these herbs too, they have phytochemicals in them. They have plant compounds that are just good for your health, right? They have vitamin C, anti-inflammatory properties. We're doing an 1/8 teaspoon of paprika. And then someone's going to help me. Thank you. Would you like to tell the nice people at home your name?
I'm Bronte.
Bronte. Thank you so much for your help. I'm very, very grateful. Okay, so you know what you can do, which would be great. So we need an 1/8. So just be careful of this little cord right here or we lose our beautiful thing. So I need about an 1/8 teaspoon of pepper. If you can just do that pepper for me.
Just kind of eyeball it.
Yeah, just eyeball
Like
it.
that,
Yeah, just like if you're just kind of just sprinkling it around, because we can always put more or less. That's just to get it started, flavor. And then we're going to put our vegetables in. Actually, you know what? I'll let you move over there. Just be careful of that cord. And I'll hand you stuff. Okay. So let's go back to the cabbage soup recipe. So it says 1 head of cabbage. I'm going to save that to last. When I chop up 1 head of cabbage, it comes out. This is not even the whole head of cabbage. There's more back there. So we're just starting with this. So what I like to do is I put in all the other ingredients first. So I'll start at the bottom and I'll do the 5 cloves of garlic. So that is 5 cloves of garlic. I already chopped everything up for you guys because it takes so long and you would be starving by the time we get there. Yeah. And if you want to use that, you can, but you don't have to. So she also put in that stalk of celery. And then we have another class here at 6 o'clock. So this is all the onions. So we're going to do half. Yep, half of those onions. Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you, Bronte. So glad you're here. And then bell pepper. So since we're getting the red with our bell peppers, with the tomatoes, since we're getting those red phytochemicals, I'm using a yellow and an orange bell pepper, but you can use whatever bell pepper you like. It doesn't matter. Whatever color you like is fine. So can we use half of those? Because half of that is for 6 o'clock also. And then after I get everything in, then I will put my cabbage in after whatever's left over that fits in my pot. And actually, probably if you're doing this at home, maybe even a bigger pot than this, if you have like a big pot. All right, so we're just going to fill this up as much as, so my hands are clean. I'm going to, and this is going to boil for a while, so, but I'm going to go ahead and do it like this just because it gets really, really messy. And I'm going to fill this up. So let's look over the recipe now. While I'm filling this up, let's look over the recipe and see if I missed anything. Anybody want to check and see? We did parsley. Yeah, so I did all of the dry mix. Bronte did the pepper for me. Ugh. Yeah, this gets a little precarious. So I'm just gonna fill it up. So this can cook on a high or a medium high for anywhere from 30 minutes to 90 minutes. And then I just come back and stir it like every 5 to 10 minutes to get all that cabbage. And if you have to add in more water or more broth or something like that, you can do that. But all of these vegetables are full of water. So once it gets nice and heated, then it'll start to condense itself down. Jose, do you think that I noticed that apparently the soup wasn't hot enough, so now, do you think, Jose, the soup might be ready now? Thank you so much. Thank you. So we'll be giving you a taste of this. I'm going to go ahead and just cover this up. Yep. Thank you so much, Bronte. Everyone give Bronte a hand. Thank you. So beautiful. I'm just going to close this up. I'll keep an eye on this, and we'll serve it for the night class. So I list all my sources here, some of the scientific research also, but then the people that I got these recipes from, or I adapted the recipes from. Giveaways! I have a few of my favorite new things I like to share. So I like to share some of my favorite new things. And this is what I was saying too earlier with the disclosure that I'm not benefiting financially from any of these things. I just go to food and nutrition conferences and I find out what's the cool new stuff. And then I like to give it away. I'm like, give me a bunch of that because it's so good. And this one specifically that I'm giving away, I've got 3 of them to give away today. This company is called Step One Foods. And a doctor created this mix of seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, and other things that help to lower your cholesterol naturally. And this is just one of the products. This one is Sprinkle. And I put it on my, you can put it on your yogurt, you can put it in your cereal, you can just eat it with a spoon if you want to, you can put it in your smoothie, but it tastes really good. And actually for Christmas, I sent boxes of these to people. Bless you. So I've got 3 of them to give away today. Look at this. Okay, so here what we have is Did everyone get a chance to put their name in here? We're gonna give away 3. Oh, okay. There you go. And I put up some discount codes also for Step 1 foods. If you want to get 15% off, you can use provider 15. That'll get you, if you find that you like this. And then I didn't bring the peanuts today because I ordered them for you and they didn't come in time. So hopefully next week for sure we'll have them. That is another new product that is like a really nice high protein snack for those of you who might need some snacks on the go. And they taste fantastic. It's like one of my favorite new things. Okay, so since you're sitting there, you get to draw. Oh wait, hold on. Some of them are stuck together and that is gonna mess up their odds of winning. So give me just a second. Make sure they're all. Okay. So our first winner is Anita. Anita is the first winner. We'll give you a little packet of sprinkle. All right. We have 2 more. Adriana Garza. Yay. There you are. Let me know what you think. And this company also they have like bars. My favorite bar of they have like an apple bar, a lemon bar. My favorite one is their double chocolate crunch. Wow. I'm really picky about my chocolate. Like sometimes I'm like, I want to get it, but I'm like, it's not gonna, like I like my chocolate like this. I love their bar. Of course. All right, last winner for this class.
Sandra G.
Sandra G. There you go. Thank you. Can you pass that back to her? All right. So, so everyone's getting a bite now of the cabbage soup and we're getting good reviews so far. Good, you're liking it. Yes, and it's only 30 calories and it's peel a pound. And if that's something, but more importantly, it is really helping you to clean out that fiber in it. It's like full of vegetables and all of the great vitamins that you're getting out of that. But I'm super excited about next week. I'm giving you a little sneak peek of next week because I am going to teach you, and this is simple. So this had kind of a lot of ingredients to it and a lot of chopping that has to go, but the next 3 weeks, our recipes are simple. So we're going to do toasted overnight steel cut oats. And my family loves this. I love it. It's super hearty because it's steel cut oats. And a lot of people don't know what to do with the steel cut oats. But I'm going to show you. It's like the demonstration is going to take like no time. The most time is going to be just heating it up. Because you just get, and you don't have to have an Instapot and you don't have to have a crock pot or anything. You just get like a big pot. And I'm telling you the whole thing. So come next week. Because I get so excited. I'm like, okay, let me tell you, it's so easy. And we'll have toppings and all that stuff. So it'll be great. So does anyone else have, I have finished with my master's in nutrition and I'm a registered dietitian now. So I'm not in school and studying all the time. I just study for fun now. So tell me what your questions are. Tell Jose what you want to talk about, like what subjects you're interested in. Because we can talk about nutrition. We can talk about food safety. I actually started making like a running list of everything I want to present to you guys. I'm looking at Jose in the eye right now. I'm like, I have like a whole year at least worth of stuff I can present. But mostly I really, really want to build these community connections, right? I want you guys to communicate and come and know that your questions are going to be answered and that you're going to get to see your friends, that you're going to get to see Anita and Bronte and everybody, and we're going to talk. And hey, did you make that recipe and hey, let's ask her about this and what about this, because there's so many details. Nutrition is so complex, right? And it's constantly changing, and so you need somebody like me that wants to read all this stuff all the time, right? So let me know, do you have any questions about what we did today?
How bad would it be to add some protein?
So her question is, how bad would it be to add some protein? I do to this cabbage soup. So adding chicken if you want. I promised myself I was going to say this, and I'm about to say it. I love sardines. So I put, it's easy too. You know, I mean, of course you can buy like the tuna packets now, and you can put some tuna in, or you could get like canned chicken or something like that. It's super, super easy. But if you want to shred up your own chicken, use like the leftover rotisserie chicken, or if you have any leftover turkey from Christmas or Thanksgiving, shred that up and put it in there. So protein, I'm a big advocate. My master's thesis was on muscles depletion in elderly, or all of us. Not elderly, I was like, in everybody. As we age, our muscle depletion, and how actually we really need a lot more protein than we might be getting. But clean, lean proteins are going to benefit us the most. You had another question.
What would you recommend to substitute the butter with whenever you're like baking and stuff like that?
Recommend to substitute for butter when you're baking? Not cooking, baking. You know, honestly, and when I first started doing this decades ago, for like oil and stuff like that, I was using applesauce to substitute for at least half of it. So if a recipe called for, now I don't know if you're talking about cookies or you're talking about more like cakes.
Either.
So yeah, bananas, applesauce. If you don't mind the banana thing, the banana flavor, I feel like banana makes everything taste like banana, and then I don't, you know, it's too much. But applesauce is really nice and neutral. And to me, like in my scientific brain, I'm like, well, applesauce doesn't have any fat in it, so how is it substituting? But it bakes and it works. So for the most part, that's a good choice. Or I'll half it and I'll use an avocado oil or a grapeseed oil instead of the butter. Those are good options. Does anyone else have any ideas of?
For baking, I use flaxseed, ground flaxseed.
Ground flaxseed. Thank you. Yes. So you can use ground flaxseed, and also chia seeds if you don't mind the little poppy kind of bits in there, because when chia seeds get wet, they emulsify, right? Yeah, they puff up. And so that's a really good substitution for egg and for butter. And it has that fat component, or it acts like a fat really well. Yeah. Another question.
On the soup, because it makes such a large batch.
Uh-huh.
How do you store, or can it be frozen, or?
Thank you. I wasn't looking at my notes. I was trying to go off script. And I'm like, I didn't say that. Yeah, so she was asking, it makes so much, and it really does make a lot. Like this Instapot, it really makes more than this. It makes so much that it lasts us for a very long time. So it freezes very, very well. As a matter of fact, I mean, more information than you need to know. I had to drive my daughter to Denver because she goes to college there. And I had to make everything for today's, I just got back yesterday on a plane last night. So I had to have everything prepped on Friday. So I made everything and I froze it all, which I think is why Jose couldn't get it hot enough. I was trying to get it hot enough. So yes, it freezes really well. Because I mean, is the texture holding up to you guys? It's good still. So depending on your living situation, like I've got 4 people in my house, so I can freeze it in like, you know, maybe one of these, depending on who will eat it. But, you know, if you're by yourself, or if it's you and your husband, or just the 2 of you, doing like 1 cup or 2 cups, portion sizes, It freezes really well. Yeah. Any other questions? You guys just, oh, I have one more question.
What could you substitute for the tomatoes in this?
What can you substitute for the tomatoes in this? So I was actually thinking of you when I was making this, because I know that we have some people that they have like some gastric reflux, and the tomatoes and the bell peppers just don't work very well for them.
I know you mentioned, or you texted me sweet potato.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to change the component of it altogether. Honestly, what I would do, because you're getting all your flavor from your spices, and I mean, just leave them out. That would be my suggestion, is don't put in the tomatoes, don't put in the bell peppers, because you're still getting the bouillon flavor. You've got the cabbage. Do you do okay with onions?
A little bit.
A little onion, right. And you could just modify that. I mean, honestly, you could make this whole soup with just cabbage and all the wonderful spices, right? And just have cabbage.
Broth for the liquid,
Well, the bouillon is giving you the vegetable broth. But honestly, I made a big stock pot of turkey bone broth from Christmas, and I just poured that in there. But the bouillon's giving you the stock. That's your broth right there. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so happy that you were here, and I'm so happy to see you again, and I hope to see you for the steel cut oats, and we'll talk a little bit more about HDL and fiber and how that's going to help to improve your numbers. And ask me questions, and we'll keep getting better together.